All right, awesome. All right, welcome to Finance Fridays with Friends. I am Tremaine Wills, your financial strategist and your favorite money educator. Today, I have my friend Jenny Melrose here. We're going to be talking about how you can make sure you are not replaced by AI and 5 strategies to make sure you have a viable business. So, if that's something that interests you, make sure you stay tuned. So, let's dive right on in. Jenny, tell the folks a little bit about you.
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me on. I'm super excited about this conversation. So, my name is Jenny Melrose. I actually work with female business owners that are looking to create digital products for themselves and be able to just make money passively rather than having to trade time for money.
And we love passive money, okay? I talk all the time about retirement and getting to a place where we're not trading time for money any longer. So, having passive income streams is definitely a game changer. And now that we're going to be talking about how you can leverage AI, this should make it even easier for folks to start adding more coins to their wallets. So, let's go ahead and dive in, right? We won't keep the folks waiting. What are some of these strategies that we can leverage to keep our businesses viable?
Yes. So I think the first thing when it comes to being able to leverage AI is understanding that AI is not meant to replace you. It is meant to help you, to speed up your processes, to be able to get the research phase out of the way rather than you having to dig deep and find out all of the information. Now you can use AI to help you do that. So I think the first piece that people have to do is make them that shift when they hear AI. It's supposed to be that assistant that you could potentially be having a conversation with within your business. So it might be someone that you would potentially, if you had the ability to hire someone to come into your business and help you write the copy, do the research. That's how you're using AI so that they can not replace you, but be able to, again, speed up your processes. So the first thing that in order to have a viable business, it's truly important that you understand your positioning. So I call this my PAC framework. Actually, part of my book that I've written back in 2020. It's this 4-step framework that is going to be able to help you monetize what it is that you are doing. So your positioning is going to be the first piece that you really have to understand. How are you different than everyone else out there so that your people can really understand who you are and see that you can solve the problem for them that they have. And once you understand your positioning, it helps to be able to then create a unique value proposition in which you're going to really determine in a clear statement what it is that you're doing, who you're doing it for, and how it's different than anyone else out there.
So this isn't the first time we've heard of this, right? We know that there's all kinds of strategies that we can deploy, but the very first step is always figuring out who are we talking to, right? Because we'll create content and we'll create offers and we'll do all the things, but if we're not speaking to somebody specifically, then it makes it near impossible to reach anybody.
Yes. Yes, and we often get the feeling that we have to cast this wide net, and they talk about it in the terms of a blue ocean and a red ocean. Red ocean is where everybody's going after the same one. It's the sharks are all eating up everything that's in there. Blue ocean is where there's not that many people because you're very niche specific. You know who you are speaking to, and because of that, they are identifying themselves as the perfect audience for you. So I think that when you're trying to determine who your audience is, remember to keep it specific. It's okay to narrow it down to one person in particular, because when you put that out there, you're going to attract others outside of that one person. But the people that are very similar to her or him are going to see themselves in what you create and want to know more and want to work with you. So it's really
Mm.
key to hone in on who you're trying to speak to.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, as we kind of tie this back to the first piece that you mentioned of using AI as like your assistant, right?
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit more about how you can use AI as your assistant to find out more about this one person you want to speak to?
Yes. So the way in which you do this is using different prompts within AI. And I think the important thing to understand about AI is that you have to teach it has to understand who you are, who you are trying to reach. And by doing that and asking it those types of questions and providing it with that type of information, it's going to be able to help you refine who it is that you're trying to reach. So I think one of the things that I always tell my students and clients that I've worked with is to apply it with information that you have. So for example, I have my book, it's in a PDF format. I gave it to AI and said, okay, this is my book. Who's the key people that I should be reaching to? That could be something that you would ask. What else, what is some other content I could create based on the book that could then lead towards the book? So that if you have products or services that you already offer and you are trying to send them to it, you could potentially look at your customer journey of awareness, trying to actually educate them, and then to get to the conversion of them selling and purchasing what it is that you offer. So with those pieces of the customer journey, you want to then be able to create content that's going to attract them. And that's where your positioning is going to come out in your content, because they are going to see themselves in what you are offering as the solution.
Mm. This is exciting, right? Because as we think about speaking directly to our target customer, target avatar, I start to see how that directly correlates to being able to make more money, right?
Mhm.
Because when people can identify themselves and see themselves in your content, it makes it easier to say, yes, you have the solution to what I need because I know you're talking to me. And now I'm ready to open my wallet.
Yes, absolutely. That is so true. I think in the second piece that we had said about the 5 pieces of a viable business, what do you need? And so we talked a little bit so far about positioning. The next piece is going to be authenticity, which when we're
Mhm.
talking about AI is where you are key, because your story is unlike anyone else's. And because there is a lot of content that is out there that can be generated by AI, the stories you tell are going to come across authentically and set you apart. So when you are creating any of your content, you want to make sure that you are putting your voice into it. You are having a specific tone that is yours, and making sure that you are adding in the stories throughout the content that people are going to be able to connect with. And a lot of times you can do this by talking about your previous students, your previous clients that
Mm.
they have worked with you. Because when you can speak to that, it does two things. One, it makes it very authentic because you are telling a story. And two, it's social proof. It's proof that you are already helping the others in the specific way in which you are seeing that you can help the people that are finding you.
Okay, so I love that you brought in authenticity as we're talking about AI, right? Because I've been listening to like a lot of different content. Of course, everybody's trying to help folks get on board with AI, right? Some of us have been using it for a while, and others, like this may be their first time hearing about it. But the
Yeah.
idea that you can just use AI to do everything, like it will help level the playing field, but it also makes it that much more important to be authentic and really show up as the human because there's going to be such an influx of content.
Yes. And in doing so, you have to find, excuse me, you have to find the platforms that give you your voice and are able for people to connect with you by being able to see you. So
Ooh.
that's going to definitely set yourself apart in that aspect of authenticity, because someone can see you in a video or someone can hear your voice on a podcast, there's an immediate connection, there's a difference. They can determine, I don't really like the way that she talks a little too fast for me, she's not my cup of tea. Or they can say she's perfect, that she's an educator, she knows what she's talking about, I'm ready. It speeds up that process as compared to where people traditionally would go and read a blog post or go and try to find an article. By having video content and audio content, it's going to make a difference. And the authenticity immediately is there because of it.
Mm, that's good. That's good. We like that. So, what I hear from you is a push for more of us to show up either on video Or let's say you don't want to turn your camera on, at least show up audibly.
Yes. And the big thing when it comes to that is that you want to make sure that you're repurposing that content.
Yeah.
Just because you create a video doesn't mean that you then have to write a totally different article or a totally different email or an entirely different Instagram reel or an entirely different TikTok. You can take one piece of content and repurpose it across multiple. When I create content for my YouTube, we start with the video. We then pull the audio out of it to make a podcast, which then gets turned into a blog post, which then gets emailed to my audience. We then use it across social, where we're going to turn it into a reel and a short for YouTube, as well as being able to create static content within Instagram just based on the strategies that are used within that video. So thinking about how you can repurpose your content so that you can reach multiple people is going to be key. We used to say that people need to see something 6 to 8 times before they will actually convert and become a customer. Now they have to see you on 4 different platforms, watch you for 11 hours, or at least consume content for 11 hours, and then see you multiple times throughout the time before they will actually convert. So it's really important that you're finding different ways to leverage content that you're putting out there on multiple platforms.
Wow, wow, wow. I didn't know it had increased so much.
Yes, it's video that has changed everything. The way that people actually trust people is very different than what it used to be prior to reels and TikToks and shorts. People are so used to just consuming content and flipping through their feed that they're not connecting to it. So in order for them to connect, they have to see you on multiple platforms and see that your voice is all connected, and that's how they're really going to start to trust you.
Wow. Okay, this was so good, right? This was really good. So I hope for those of you who are tuning in, either watching live or catching this on a replay, like that resonated with you. So many of us have this resistance to showing up on camera, to creating content, and oftentimes we're wondering why we're not able to convert. And it's because our buyers are changing, right? They need to see that authentic piece of you where, the static post isn't going to do it like it used to do in the past. So this is so good. This is so good.
Good. I'm glad. So we've talked about the first and the second important parts of a viable business. The third is going to be confidence. And I know that seems kind of strange because people are like, well, you're either born with it or you're not. And in my opinion, that's just not true. You can become confident as you would become stronger if you were to work out a specific muscle. Confidence is a muscle. The more you do it, the more comfortable and confident you become in what it is that you're doing. Anyone that starts an online business, unless you went to school, I mean, recently, honestly, because when I went to school, this kind of content was not offered. This was not a major. You couldn't have gone up and found out about Pinterest or YouTube when I went to college. So being able to get an online business, to start to create content, video, audio, putting out products and services for people, it's going to be uncomfortable until you get used to it and start to become more confident in your own skin and what you educate people on. I think that that's really important to understand, because a lot of people will say to me, oh, I'm never going to get in front of a video. There's just no way. And I will be honest, I'm an introvert. And for me, it was really, I know, it was really hard for me in the beginning. And honestly, it was just ripping off that Band-Aid and knowing I was going to be uncomfortable. And now I'm just not. I don't get nervous before an interview anymore. I'm not hesitating when I'm trying to talk. It just becomes natural because I've done it so many times. The only way to build confidence is to jump into the deep end and figure it out as you go. You're not going to be able to do anything perfectly. Each client is going to be a little bit different, and you're going to find some clients perfect for you, and others may just not be your ideal customer. And there's nothing wrong with that. And figuring that out is key to having a successful business.
Yeah, that's so good. So one, I'm glad you mentioned that you are an introvert, because I think a lot of us introverts, we use that as an excuse not to show up, and that's honestly not a reason, right? Introversion is about how you recharge, right? And what gives you energy. And even though you may not enjoy being around people all the time, if you have a gift or a talent in providing a particular service and you're knowledgeable, that's really all you need to show up on camera and be confident. Because after time, like you said, you get used to just being on camera, and the authenticity of what you know and who you are is what shines through. And it's no longer like, oh, I'm on camera. It's like, oh, I am sharing, teaching, providing, resources and creating impact for the people that I want to serve. And so, when you care more about that, then you care about the discomfort of possibly messing up while you're speaking or any of those things, then it's like, okay, being on camera isn't that bad. Right? So I think I love that this is all weaving together, right? You know who you're talking to, right? You are being authentic about what you're talking about, and you're not pretending to be somebody that you aren't. And then the confidence just builds on that because you are who you say you are. And so you just keep getting to show up being yourself.
Yes. And I think part of it too, when it comes to the confidence piece, is that a lot of us have imposter syndrome that sneaks in. We might have been taught that you're seen, not heard. All of these kind of ways that some of us have grown up with. Could you even be a business owner? I mean, when I was younger, that was not an option. You became a teacher or you became a doctor. Like those were the things that you were able to do. So for me, it's really trying to figure out not only getting past that, who am I to be doing this, but understanding that if I don't put out the solution that I know I have, I'm being, I am actually taking away from my people. I'm being selfish because I have a solution and I'm too afraid to offer it. So know that yes, you're going to put something out there and sometimes it's going to feel like crickets. But if you have the total solution for them, they will find you. As you continue to put out content that's meant to attract them and meant for them to see that you can solve that problem for them, which is also key and why you have to figure out your position and know the problem that you solve for your audience. Too often I hear people say, oh, I just help people do this. And I'm like, okay, well, what are the problems that they have? And they look at me like I'm talking about craziness. And I'm like, well, you have to know what you're searching for. They're not necessarily searching for how to, I mean, they might be searching for how to lose 100 pounds, but it's thinking about what is it that they're struggling with? Like if you're trying to reach perimenopausal women, like there's certain things that they are struggling with that
Mm.
you have to know they're going to search for and put that content out there. You can't put out there, oh, the best vitamins for women. Like that's too broad. They're searching for how do I get more energy? How do I help my memory loss? How do I feel like I'm not talking about all these crazy things at once? Like it's important to really think about what are they searching for, which is why I always recommend keyword research. You have to understand the words that people are using to find the solutions that you offer.
This is so good, right? And two, that keyword research and knowing what problems your avatar has goes back to knowing who you're talking to and using AI to find those answers, right? I mean, it's so amazing. Like sometimes I feel like, huh, is there an AI for this when I'm thinking of different things? And then of course you go look for it, you're like, oh, it exists. So this is it's such a cool time to be in. When we can think
Yes.
about how we can leverage AI to improve the skill sets that we have and make things faster, more efficient, more affordable, right? And cut expenses.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. So the next piece of having that viable business is kindness. And I often say this and people look at me like I'm crazy. And it's this idea that, again, it's that selfish piece. If you don't put out this solution, you're going to be selfish to your audience. But by putting it out there, you're being kind. The other piece of this is a lot of clients will come to me and say, I don't like to sell. I don't sell. Like, I'm not a used car salesman. I'm not doing that. If you can show that you can solve the problem, selling isn't an issue. All it becomes is having a call to action, which is grab my free guide or get on the email list or join this challenge or watch this webinar or whatever it be. It just is the next step. It's not a call to action. It's not a sleazy sell. The other piece of kindness is being kind to yourself and knowing
Mm.
that your journey is yours. We are bombarded with social media. We can constantly see something the second we open our phone, whether you're going Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you are. And often we'll see 7 figures in 7 days or something insane. And we go, well, why aren't we doing that? Why does she grow so quickly? Why all of a sudden does she have so many YouTube subscribers? I've been doing this longer than she has. I think what we have to remember is their journeys look very different. Your life is going to be entirely different than theirs. Is she 20 years old and doesn't necessarily have kids or as much of a responsibility as maybe you have? Does she have more time that she can put into her business than you have? And the other piece is, does she have different goals than you have? I think a lot of people miss that. I think that it's really important that you understand the vision and mission for your business. Why are you trying to do what you are trying to do? Because if you don't want to have a team of 15 people and that's not in your vision for your business, then it's probably likely it's 7 figures isn't part of your journey. That's not where you're going to be able to do that necessarily without a team of people that you're going to have to manage and kind of oversee. So understanding like, what is it? Like, why are you doing what you're doing so that you can be sure that you are setting up your business that way and your expectation so that you're not going into social media and getting frustrated and feeling like a failure because you see someone else doing what you think you should be doing. And again, evaluate it. Is it in line with what your vision and mission is for your business? And if it's not, like, you need to start blocking people. You need to stop seeing that in your feed. You need to get off of the platforms and go to the spots where you know you're not going to see that type of content, or start looking for content that maybe you're going to look on that platform for and it has nothing to do with business. I think you really have to protect yourself and put boundaries in place as part of this. And I think that a lot of women have a tendency to not even want to feel comfortable putting up boundaries. We are so used to going to help someone else before we will ever help ourselves that boundaries seem to go, oh, I can't do that. I'm doing something wrong if I'm doing that. Someone needs me. So understanding like that's going to be a piece of your journey and being kind to yourself as you're going through and doing.
Yeah, this is so good. Oh my goodness, Jenny. So the kindness piece just resonates so deeply right now. Ironically, yesterday, I was using ChatGPT to look up the definition and the difference between nice and kind, right?
Mhm.
Because I find that um at face value, right? Somebody can be nice where
Yes.
they're pleasant and they're smiling, but they're not necessarily kind people. And where you talk about it's selfish not to share a solution if you have it, even if it means making the people you want to serve a little bit uncomfortable. If it's going to help them improve their quality of life, then that's a level of kindness that is required, right? So I love that kindness is part of the strategy, because
Mhm.
you really do get to show up as a better version of yourself that holds yourself accountable to serve your audience. And then the other piece, oh my goodness, is not comparing to everybody else. That is so good. I recently realized or re-realized that I am not motivated by money.
Sure.
I'm just not motivated by money, which is ironic as a financial person. I am
Mhm.
motivated by impact in the number of people that I can serve. So going back to reevaluate my goals is how many people can I touch, right? And so this idea that, we can see what's happening on our timelines, and especially like other folks are using AI to pump out content crazy, right? And if you're not careful, you might feel inadequate or like, people are so far ahead, but you have to sit down and reevaluate. am I comparing myself based on similar goals or just what I see on this timeline? Right. And so when I really took a moment yesterday and I sat down and I was like, huh, I got to stop chasing the money because the money doesn't motivate me. The impact does, the number of people I can serve. That's what's motivation for me. And I think if more of us really take that time, like you said, to unfollow the pages that don't align, or, even when in not feel guilty about disconnecting from even like great pages, right? But if the great pages cause you to feel inadequate about yourself, maybe it's not something you can look at right now, and being okay with that, right? So I
Yes.
love that that's part of it. We got to be nice to ourselves, as we are building this business, because entrepreneurship in itself is hard. It's hard.
It truly is. It's a roller coaster ride. And you, again, I think that's why I always say you have to know your mission and your vision for your business. Because if you don't, you're going to wonder why you're doing certain things. You're going to hit a low and be like, yep, burn it down. I'm done. I'll go back to work. I'll go back to being a teacher, whatever it might be. I think that you really have to understand where you're trying to go with it, and that you're going to run into certain things. I mean, I've been online since 2009. It was like the dinosaurs roamed the earth at that time. Instagram didn't exist. Pinterest wasn't a thing yet. And I really kind of have seen so many changes. And I think that we immediately assume that when you talk about online business, you have to be all over social media 24/7, every single platform. And I just truly do not believe that. And that was the large belief when I started. And what I have seen is that you cannot build a business on rented property. And social media is
Mm.
rented property. They can do whatever they want with it. They can change the algorithm. They can decide what they're going to show to your people or not show. They can change the way the platform works and what's important. Let's look at Reels and what had happened over the last probably 3-4 years. Or they can turn around and, you know what? I'm not making any money off of this anymore. I'm shutting it down. I was someone for those who are familiar with Google Plus, it was a social media platform that everyone thought back in the day, oh, Google owns it. It's going to become amazing. Get on it. And I did. I had 660,000 followers on Google Plus. And if you're familiar with it or not familiar with it, there's a reason. It's because it was shut down overnight. And I made the mistake of having all of those followers, but I wasn't growing my email list, which would then send them back to the content that I created, the products and the services that I offered. So when it comes to thinking about online business, your first step should not be, in my opinion, to put content on social media. Put content on YouTube and take the video and turn it into a blog post. You can put it on a podcast, but again, you put it on a podcast, the audio, turn it into a blog post. Use keyword research and SEO to help people find you and utilize it. You can then utilize it on social media. Don't start with social media. I've watched so many businesses just go poof and they're done because one day they were being approved and one day everybody was going to it. Instagram was pushing it out. And then they decided, you know what? No, we're not going to do this anymore. You're gone.
Wow. That's so good. I'm so sorry to hear about losing all of those, you know, leads essentially, right? But it's truly the cautionary tale that unfortunately we have to hear over and over and over again, that we don't own this real estate on these social media platforms. So, especially as business owners, we have to do a better job of pulling our leads off of our social channels and getting them onto the places where we own the assets, like the email list. So, that is such a good reminder. Wow. I was briefly on Google Plus, but I did not have that many folks following.
I spent a lot of time over there trying to figure it out because, like I said, Google owned it. And I thought, this is going to be it. This is going to be the thing. I'm going to be here. And I was on all the other platforms as well. But that was my largest because I was there educating. I was doing what I am most comfortable on. It was a very easy platform at that time to get on and educate and do a video like this. And there weren't a lot of people doing it yet. So it was an easy platform for me to let's grow. But yes,
Yeah.
making sure that you own the subscribers that you have via your email list and have a way to continue to drive products and services that you offer is huge.
That's so good. This has been such a great conversation. So can we kind of round out our last strategy to make sure that we don't get replaced by AI?
Yes. So the last strategy, honestly, is to accept AI and know that you can use it to not to just speed things up, that you're looking to almost replicate yourself and be able to anything that you used to do, anything that you maybe were paying someone else to do. There are so many tools out there now because of AI that you can do most of the things that you want to do for your business from your phone. And I know that sounds crazy to some people to think, oh, how to run a business just from my phone. You absolutely can because AI makes it super simple. You have ChatGPT, you can download the app right on your phone. I mean, if you don't have ChatGPT on your phone, I don't know what you're doing. You need to have it on your phone. It's simple to have there. It's easy to use. It's a great way to be able to use it for everything that you do. My entire process of my business from the start of a piece of content starts with AI. I first use keyword research. From the keyword research, I ask ChatGPT for a title that's going to do well. Then from there, we're looking for it to outline the blog post in my mind is what I'm asking for, which I'm actually going to turn into a podcast episode. And I'm going to use that. I'm going to use the actual outline in order to create my podcast episode so that then we can take that podcast episode. We then use another AI tool within a podcast hosting company that creates the blog post, does the social shares, does the description for me, all of it. Like all of these things that used to take me hours upon hours upon hours. A company that I used to pay to do the podcast editing, now it's super simple just to use an app to do it all. It's crazy.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This is so cool. So like, do you have an estimate of about how much time and maybe money, right? Incorporating more AI tools into your business has saved you?
So I would say easily using AI has saved me at least $500 to $600 a month in paying people for a team that was helping certain aspects that I'm now able to do myself and kind of have more control over. And it takes them a lot less time. As far as
Wow.
time, the amount of hours that things used to take me compared to now is just insanity. I mean, I avoided YouTube for a very long time because I hated editing. I could not handle the editing aspect. I thought it was way too difficult. And using simple apps like CapCut just made everything so much easier and so much simpler to do. So being having the mindset that I'm going to test it out, I'm going to try it out, I'm going to see how it is, and then be able to see, okay, now I'm going to create a system and a process, which is exactly what we've done. I mean, I couldn't even estimate how many hours we are saving now. It's crazy. I mean, for
Wow.
example, I guess I kind of could. It's May right now as of recording. I am scheduled through August because my kids are done with school next week. I'm scheduled for through August with all podcast recordings, blog posts, YouTube videos, everything. Because I can't get anything done when they're home.
That is amazing. That is so I mean, we're already talking about, at least five, $6,000 a year, just leveraging AI tools. And then you've already bought yourself essentially 3 months of time to just have it with your kids. And that right there should be reason enough for those of us who are like, I need time to take a jump on it, especially going into these summer months when our children will likely be home, right? This has been so fantastic. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So like I knew we were going to talk about AI a little bit, but I really didn't know how well everything was going to come together to really talk about the whole business, right? Because typically when we see like AI topics, it's like a list of different tools and resources that you can use. But this episode was really more about how you make AI another employee. inside of your business and you stay human and you still have that human touch, and you don't get beat out by AI. That's going to happen to so many other small businesses if they don't wake up and pay attention. So, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Right. So, for the folks who are watching and
Mhm.
absolutely want to learn more about what you're doing, how can they get connected?
Yes. So I have a strategic growth plan that's actually free. That would be a great starting point. It really helps you understand taking this pack framework that we talked a little bit about today and putting it into ChatGPT to be able to understand, how am I going to use this with my business? How does this actually impact me? And the guide will walk you through that. So it'll give you a strategic growth plan that you can utilize and adjust as you continue to grow. Otherwise, the best place to ask any questions would definitely be my DMs on Instagram at Jenny_Belrose. Or feel free to ask any questions in the comments on this video. I am happy to come back and answer any questions that come up. It is one of my favorite things, honestly, to talk about, because I have watched so many changes over the years and continue to have clients that are very, very successful and leaning into that idea of legacy, and not, like you said, the idea of your impact, instead of being, pushed by money, they're pushed by legacy. Understanding that we're going to create this business, and ideally the goal is someday to be able to sell it, so that I have impacted my family with the legacy that I've created with this, but also the legacy that then shares on with all of the people that you have impacted within your audience.
So fantastic. All right, guys. There's a link in this description where you'll be able to get that strategic plan. And I encourage you, if you haven't thought about where you want your business to go, absolutely grab it. So that way you can be intentional about what's happening in your business and you're building something you're actually excited about waking up to. I think for a lot of us as small business owners, we might come into this with revenue goals and income goals, but the longer you stay in it, I think the more we start to realize that it really is about legacy, it really is about impact, and you have to have strategy in order to be able to do that in a way that still allows you to take the summer off and spend time with your kids, right? And to pre-plan and prepare for those kinds of things. So be sure to tap that link and tune in. All right. So I want to close out with my question here. And we're talking about, Finance Fridays with friends. And so for a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we typically have like a business bestie, right? So
Mhm.
I want to ask, what is one thing that you would do with your business bestie on a Friday night?
On a Friday night, does it have to be related to business or
Nope.
no? It doesn't have to. Okay. So, mine would definitely be grabbing a bottle of Prosecco and sitting and just talking through all the things. I think as business owners, it can be very lonely, and understanding what you're going through, and the different algorithms, and why you're trying to grow a funnel, and all of the pieces that go into a business. Have someone and have that conversation with them is so huge.
Yeah. I mean, you had me at talk, just talk, right? Because sometimes all you just
Mhm.
need is somebody to hear you and to see you and to be there, right? That presence is really, really important.
Yes.
So this has been amazing, Jenny. Thank you so much for coming on and having a chat with me on Finance Fridays with Friends. Guys, if you liked what you heard today, be sure to stay connected. Go follow Jenny. She has a YouTube channel where you can hear more about what she talked about earlier when we first came on. I don't know if you caught that, but it was ways to make passive income, especially when we're talking about digital products. So if you don't want to hustle and bustle all the time, you need strategies like that inside of your business so that you can stop trading time for money. All right. And it has
Thank
been fun.
you. Yes, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Have a great Friday.